You're fat and you talk like a moron.
Leaves are falling all around. Time I was on my way. Thanks to you, I'm much obliged. It's such a pleasant stay. But now it's time for me to go. The autumn moonlight's my way. But now I smell the rain, and with it pain, and it's heading my way. Sometimes I grow so tired, but I know I've got one thing I got to do. I ramble on, and now the time is now. Sing my song. I'm going round the world. I gotta find my girl on my way. I've been this way 10 years till the day. Ramble on, find the queen of all my dreams. Got no time for spreading room. The time has come to be gone. And though our health we drank 1,000 times, it's time to ramble on. Ramble on, and now the time is now. Sing my song. I'm going round the world. I gotta find my girl on my way. I've been this way 10 years to the day. I gotta ramble on. I gotta find the queen of all my dreams. I tell you no lie. Mine's a tale that can't be told. My freedom I hold dear. How years ago, in days of old, when magic filled the air, just in the darkest depths of Mordor, I met a girl so fair. But Gollum, the evil one, crept up and slipped away with her, yeah. And ain't nothing I can do now. I guess I'll keep on rambling. I'm gonna sing myself. I gotta find my baby. I'm gonna ramble on, sing my song, gonna work my way around the world, ramble on, baby. Do my baby, ramble on, baby. Do. I can't stop this feeling in my heart every time I think I got the power. I gotta keep searching for my baby. I gotta keep searching for my baby.
I am sorry, everybody. I know that we heard the same song last night, but it took forever to cut tonight's Uncle Rico package of John and Aver and $2 Dan.
Frog, you've been handling Uncle Rico's package again, have you? We should have
Dude,
known. That's what you've
it
been doing
was
all day.
Brutal. And especially on all the days, we have to have a morning show as well to eat up 3 hours of my day. So, but it's going to be a good one. You're definitely not going to want to miss the Uncle Rico show. Also, tonight on the Uncle Rico show, I don't know if anyone noticed the thumbnail change. We were going to talk about the fact today here on Arresting Developments that there was another letter from Bennett Susser today. Susser. But apparently we're going to talk about that on the Uncle Rico show tonight. So you are definitely going to want to check that out. And thank you for being here, everybody. Please hit like and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And
Can we
Mike,
spoil
how
one
are you?
thing? Can we spoil one thing about the new Susser letter.
Sure.
Talk to us about the one thing that didn't change, Frog, because that's the funniest thing of all time. That's the kind of thing that if I missed it in a report of investigation, it would be thrown out of court. They wouldn't even accept it.
This letter, much like the last letter, was dated April 6th.
Yeah, that's all we're gonna say. We'll leave the rest for TSN. They can unpack that later on. But it's just amazing. A professional, licensed attorney passed the bar, 2 letters in a row, didn't change the date. That's like getting a oil change twice in a row, and they forgot to put the plug back in the oil pan twice in a row, and you just all the oil leaked out of your engine.
You're pretty objective here, Mike. Like, I mean, I know you're kind of on our side because you know us and everything, but you've got to admit that it's very clear looking at those letters who the better attorney is.
Oh, it's not even close, dude. I met some really good defense attorneys. I was on the criminal side, obviously, as a cop. I met some really good defense attorneys and some really bad ones. I met some really good prosecutors and some really, really bad ones. You know what they call the guy who finishes the bottom of his class in law school? An attorney.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer. Right? As long as he passes the bar, he or she is a lawyer. And there's some really good lawyers and some really bad ones. And the problem is when you hire an attorney, you don't know necessarily. I assume Stuttering John picks his attorneys based on their rates. And the rates are probably not very high because they're
based on who will do shit for him for free. And there was before DabbleCon, as a matter of fact, there was another attorney that reached out to us to say that like John didn't want us to play the tapes and blah, blah, blah. And Shuli and I think Carl or Bob Levy talked to this lawyer, and the lawyer wound up calling John a moron. And I think probably said to John, like, listen, dude, I'll take this case, but you're going to have to pay me for it. And John's like, yeah, well, I'm not doing that. So he found these 2 humps that are like, well, I'll do it for nothing, because John convinced them that the minute we got hit with a lawsuit, we would panic and be looking to settle. And that didn't quite play out like that.
Did not happen that way. I just want to say thanks again to Lucy. She was lovely last night.
Oh, yeah.
She's great. Delightful.
Yeah, you'll notice all of a sudden not as many viewers when she's not around.
I don't know why that is. She was lovely, and I've seen her on TSN. She doesn't do as much talking on there generally as she did on our show last night, and all I ever hear is, "Oh, she's got boobies," and I'm like, actually, she's super articulate and smart, as it turns out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was delightful. She was great. We'll have her back on.
By the way, if you saw our thumbnail, the thumbnail that we're using tonight of Johnny Somali, shout out to Mars for this.
That is fantastic, actually. Wow. We have the best audience in the world.
Yeah, we do. And we do have you're probably, so I know you're not familiar with Johnny Somali, but you're probably also unfamiliar with Atozi, the YouTuber.
No, never heard of that person.
He's pretty awesome. You're going to see him tonight. The interesting thing about the Johnny Somali thing is our buddy Roy Ray, who I don't know if he's here in the chat, but if he is, he had suggested Johnny Somali like a year and a half ago to me, because his thing is sort of, I explained to you what the IRL streaming is, where like they go out live just on the street and harass people for views.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I didn't cover it because it wasn't a badge cam, but John covered one of a guy who was like running up to people and shoving something in their face, like at a mall. I don't remember what it was. But he did it to like a UPS. I want to say it was a UPS driver. And he got really close and he kept putting it in the guy's face and saying something inane. And the guy pulled out a gun and shot him. He shot the guy. Have you seen this?
If it was on the channel, I definitely saw it.
I'll find it maybe for next week. We'll watch it next week. But these guys are a menace. I don't understand why there isn't like a law against it. But as I understand it, in other countries, there are laws against it.
Well, yeah, so that's, I guess his thing is he went to Israel. In the video we're going to watch, he gets into it a little more detail and obviously knows more about it than I do, but he got into some kind of trouble in Israel and like fled the country before they could arrest him or whatever. He was in jail in Japan for like 2 months. And then just after he gets out of jail in Japan, he goes to South Korea and winds up getting thrown in jail there. And he's been sitting there waiting for this trial for like a year and a half and be able to leave South Korea.
I guess finding like a job and a career is out of the question.
That's a tough way to make a living, knowing that like at any time you
Yeah.
could be put in jail in a foreign country for like I could not imagine. I couldn't imagine going to prison here because of the food. Like I just can't imagine how awful it would be eating prison food. But in a place like South Korea, can you imagine like whatever kind of like squid or what the fuck they give you in there? Ugh.
I remember walking a guy into the Federal Heine Poke Hotel, and I'm at intake, and he says to the guy, the intake guys, one of the correctional officers, the Bureau of Prisons guys, and he goes, "Hey, I'm really hungry. What's for dinner?" And the guy says, looks at him, and he goes, "There's two things on the menu: cake and cock, and we're all out of cake." And the guy cried, and he moped his way into the first holding cell. It was good times.
Good times.
Yeah.
Speaking of good times, I know how much you love social media cops.
Oh, it's my least. Huge. Pause.
What's the point of this?
Meanwhile, right now, like right outside of the whatever this rooftop she is, someone's being brutally murdered right now while she's there dancing like some kind of idiot. This is my
100%.
least favorite thing in the world. Look, this is like millennial cops or Gen Z cops, and this is the worst trend. Who's this guy?
I don't know.
I bet
what he's talking about. Who cares?
I bet I agree. I have a feeling I agree.
wanna hear what he
with
says?
everything about to
Atlanta
say.
included
Yeah.
a 16-year-old girl, 3-year-old child, no, a 15-year-old was also shot. I read that you guys had eight shootings over that weekend.
Yeah.
At what point do you not get you're making a mockery of your own fucking community? You know,
Okay,
while,
yeah,
while
that's enough of
fucking,
him. That's enough of him.
I don't know.
But yeah, I get. Yeah, I agree with him. It's the worst thing ever. I saw one of like San Bernardino Sheriffs, a once proud organization, like the kind of place where you didn't even look at one of their deputies the wrong way, 20 years ago. And it's like some guy in the front, and he's dancing around to the whatever who's the guy, the Super Bowl halftime show guy, the Puerto Rican guy.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah, him. And he's lip syncing to that while people hold up plants behind him in full uniform. And I'm like, no, dude. Yeah, Kevin Carbone says nurses do it too. Yeah, remember during COVID, the nurses dancing around? I thought everyone was dying. Why are you in the hall? How do you have time for this right now?
Yeah.
This drives me nuts.
Maybe you like this one a little better.
Yeah, palette cleanser, please.
Fresh inside is the outside frame in the trunk wide. Or the rims big, do it right good. Lean back, right hand on the plywood. Cream on the inside, clean on
What do you think? Better?
At least she's getting some cardio in. That's a change for her, probably. So that's good.
Do you think the
No.
chief of police or like leadership approves those, or they just have their own
They-
Instagram account and can do what they want?
That's the worst part is if she's doing it in uniform with a city vehicle, they have to. They have to approve it. And they think this is like a morale builder. Meanwhile, I would assume most of the cops there hate it, as I do.
Do you think they're assigning it at like roll call? They're like, Williver, you got to make an Instagram reel today, buddy. Start dancing.
I would refuse and go to my union rep and be like, they can't make me do this. This is not part of my job description. Like the only thing union would be good for is be like, no, I'm not doing that. And I've seen remember the Philadelphia sheriff's recruitment video that we watched that here, I believe as well. It's out of control. It needs to stop. It needs to die. It's terrible.
The guy's riding a bicycle around
Yeah.
people dancing with fans for some reason.
They're like, we're not doing the fan dance, madam sheriff. So they made him. It's like, you gonna ride a bike? You do that? So that's what they did.
So we met this guy last night on the show, and he's popping up a lot in my feed now because once you copy a link to one of these videos to save it for later, all of a sudden there's a million of them in your feed. But I do love this guy.
I do a vagina, and I do a lot of stuff with it. I can touching it and moving it, pushing it around, pulling it. I mean, you can put anything in it, push it around, put it up and down, any direction. I'm doing basically everything that you can put in it, around it, moving it.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Do women like it when you pull on their vagina?
They actually don't expect it.
Of course they like it.
I'm gonna go out there on a Dr. Pepper, Captain Mauser top shelf soda. Yeah, I spilled Dr. Pepper on my seats in my helicopter. I think I think it's a put on, but it's a top notch.
So I can confirm it is a put on for sure. I went to his profile. He says it's a stand up comic, but
It's
or that
very
he's a
funny.
stand up comic. But I'm curious. You think he's putting on that voice? I got to find
Yes.
a clip of his stand-up.
Yeah, do that for next week, please, because he's very funny.
Yeah,
I mean, it's quality. The dialogue's funny. It doesn't matter if he's making it up or not. It's funny.
very funny. Thank you so
Moving
much for
around.
being here, everybody. Hit like, hit subscribe if you're not. The 81 in here with us right now. Shout out to our buddy Sterling
Behind
Wheel
my paywall.
for gifting
Hey.
10 memberships. And our friend Jess is here with 20 bucks. It's just because you rock. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Jess. You're the best.
And you can also support the show on supertip.gg/TSN. Frog. Sorry. I'm so used to saying I said TSN. Super. It's on the fucking screen. You know what I mean?
Right.
We haven't seen a good tasing in a while here on Arresting Development.
Yes, it'll be a nice palate cleanser from the social media cops.
Yeah. Next week, it's going to be all social media cops. We'll see how long Williver can last until he quits watching female cops dance to hip hop on Instagram.
Mm.
But how about a nice tasing?
Yes.
Legit one?
It's a legit one. It's got a laser and a light on it.
Oh yeah, that's legit.
And then it's got the cartridge that shoots the darts.
Oh my god!
What are you doing? Oh my god! Are you serious? Sorry.
That can't be real.
It can't be real, right?
There's no way that's real. That's funny.
Funny.
No way that's real.
It would
Yeah.
be hilarious if it was real. You know what else we're always on the lookout for here is musical talent.
Yes.
We've got kind of a battle of the bands here, so to speak. Tell me what
Okay.
do you like country music?
I do. I'm a big 90s country guy and older, like Waylon Jennings, that sort of thing, and then Garth Brooks and that sort of genre.
Whoever
Not a
they
big
are.
hick hop fan. I hope it's not hick hop.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure what this is.
You can find me, trucks circled up around the bonfire, boys pulling out their old guitars, girls dancing on them tail.
I think this is something that Shuli has got to see. Maybe I'll show him this before Uncle Rico tonight.
He does live in Alabama after all.
Yeah, and he loves weird people, and this guy's definitely weird.
Gates, singing every word to every single song that's playing on the radio. Get the sparks flying,
So
shooting
bad.
both at the moon. You can find me. You can find me.
All right.
So the internet has led to people thinking that they can just make up music on whatever that one what's the Sona or whatever they can just have an AI song and just sing to it and say things like back roads and truck and beer, cold beer, country road, kicking up dust, and just string those words together and they'll become a country star. And it's just not true. Although the actual country stars of today, most of them just say those words in various orders and they become country stars. So
I thought that was pretty good, but you tell me maybe this is more your speed.
I knew what I know now. Youth is wasted on the earth. I wish.
almighty.
If you notice, this is Youth is Wasted on the Young from his album One Ray Street. The Asian? Streaming on CD. Streaming? Streaming, comma, on
I think
CD.
people are actively tuning out of the stream right now.
Oh, you don't like Youth is Wasted on the Young? Give it a
I
try.
wish that I knew what I know now. Youth is wasted on the earth. I wish that I could go back somehow. Youth is wasted on the earth.
I'll give him points for confidence, if that confidence matters, but that's really terrible. And his electric guitar is not plugged in, so I call bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think he's really.
Yeah.
What do you think? Who's better, him or the country guy?
Oh, they're both so terrible. It's really hard to say who's worse is the question. I'm going to say the country guy's worse because at least this guy appears to have some actual musical talent as far as playing the guitar. So I'll give it to the fat guy.
Yeah,
Lip syncing.
he was
and playing the
rocking.
guitar. Yes.
Plot twist, that's actually Cardiff Electric. Everyone. Maybe so you like metal or heavier music a little bit? Maybe this is more
A
your
little
speed?
bit. Okay, let's see.
You want to punch it? What the fuck is going right now? Wake up!
I fucking love that. I also don't think I look that much like that guy.
By the way, I love that song, but I love that also. So yeah. Chop Suey is a great song. That's it's a good on the way to a search warrant song to listen to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Miss Dead Shark has
Behind my
become a member.
paywall.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And our friend Tom R over here on Super Tip says, "Whoop, hey,
That's me.
well, let me switch it. There we go. Why would anyone advocate for an increased police budget while they have time for that? This is fucking Atlanta. not known for safe streets."
100%, Tom R. We are in a complete agreement. Yeah. She should be patrolling somewhere where there's crime afoot and looking for criminals. Not stopping jaywalkers, not stopping somebody for not quite coming to a complete stop when they're making a right on red. Looking
Yeah.
for criminals doing crime in Atlanta. Atlanta's full of criminals. Go find criminals, please and thank you.
All right.
And not this nonsense.
So I do have the Johnny Somali thing. I also have a cop getting arrested at a casino. You want to watch first?
Let's see the cop for after, I think.
Okay, so Johnny Somali. So here is a Tozy's video on Johnny Somali.
I already know I'm gonna
We
hate
just
this.
got out of the sentencing for Johnny Somali, and he was arrested on the spot and taken out back. He was handcuffed and now
shot.
he's currently being processed
Sorry.
right here in Seoul, South Korea. So we have a crazy video for you guys.
As of right now, this
So talk about, Stuttering John hates that people talk about his lawsuit and stuff. These guys flew to Korea to be there for his sentencing. Yeah.
might be one of the slowest yet most preventable creator train wrecks that I've ever seen in my life. This dude has received so many chances to essentially change his life path and not
Hate
be a
him.
complete burden to society, but still, he continues to double down with his behavior. This guy is essentially actively choosing to destroy his life for some attention online. Like, imagine having the arrogance to fly out to random countries and harass their citizens for profit. The dude went to court in Japan and ended up in jail for 3 months before they finally let him go. And apparently they let him go because he was actively lying to the judge. And this person obviously is the IRL streamer by the name of Johnny Somali. And yet, after doing all of that, when he got out of the Japanese jail after being stuck there for 3 months, he didn't take it as a massive wake-up call to get his life together. No, he chose to double down by publicly bragging about how he lied to the judge.
I lied to the judge. The lawyer said lie to the judge and apologize, say that you're sorry. I don't give a Chinese. All I told these people, I said, hey, yo, I'll never make a YouTube video again. I'll never again.
Dude. And essentially, he thought he was completely invincible. So he
You can already tell what a fucking douche he is, right?
I don't like him a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I already don't like him a lot.
I can't remember if it comes up in this video, but one of the ways that he got in trouble in Korea is they have these statues. I think they cover this part. They have these statues that represent like women that the Japanese took as like sex slaves, and they're very like kind of
during World War II.
Yeah,
dude, the Japanese they got off really light for what they did to the Chinese, to the Filipinos, to the Koreans. It was really bad.
So they have these statues, and he was like doing inappropriate things to them. So one of the things that happened was people tracked him down in Korea and would find him when he was streaming and punch him in the face.
Good. That's how we curtail these activities. Honestly,
right. Captain Mauser, he has a punchable face. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't remember. I hope that's in here.
He decided to go to Israel, of all places, right after he got out from Japan. And there, he repeated the exact same formula. He harassed a bunch of strangers on the street, and then, of course, got detained, and then he got scared by the police, and he ended up fleeing.
Yeah, that's two Israeli cops holding him like
they're like Russian cops, by the way. The Israeli cops don't mess around. They'll knock you out. They don't give a fuck.
I believe that.
Yeah.
You ever had to carry someone like that?
We didn't carry them like that. So they're handcuffed behind their back. We would put our arm underneath there and pick them up so their hands were like behind them. that's a nice way to pick someone up. That's semi-comfortable. The way we did it was way
That
less
doesn't sound as comfortable.
No, it was not.
Fleeing the country. Why did he flee the country? Well, he thought he was going to be stuck there like he was in Japan. But again, he didn't take this as a wake-up call. No, he continued re-rolling. So next up, he went to South Korea. And in South Korea, he was way worse than what he was.
That's one of those statues I was talking about.
Dude, what? Yeah. I hope he got punched repeatedly.
He did, actually.
Good.
In the other countries, he continued to harass the citizens, and
wow.
he did things way out of line here. He bought a fish, he started shoving it in people's faces.
He opened a daycare.
Weird crash out at 7-Eleven for no reason whatsoever. The woman was telling him to please leave, and instead, he decided to do this.
Oh, that's so cool to do that to some minimum wage employee in Korea. That's such a cool thing to do, to pour out his ramen juice onto the counter and let her pick it up.
I can't imagine the people that watch this because they like it, you know?
But that's the thing. There's people like that. He needs to be like, we need to find some, what was it from Pulp Fiction? Some hard pipe hitting, you know, to get a pair of pliers and a blowtorch on this guy. That's just unbelievable to me. That there's people that do this and B watch it and like super chat this guy. That's the thing, is people are sending him money to do this stuff.
Right.
And when the South Korean citizens got upset with him, he doubled down like he always does. But this time he went way out of line. So he found the comfort women statues, which are statues to honor the fallen female victims of World War II in South Korea here. And he decided to oil them up and strip and dance on them. All
They love baby oil, huh?
for, I guess, attention on his stream and donations. So, I mean, at this point, he thought it was super funny. He thought he can get away with anything. So just imagine the panic he had when South Korea essentially locked their borders for him and took away his passport. And then they tell him, no, you're not leaving the country until your entire trial is finished, you've served your time, and you've paid your fines. What's the sentence? Well, we're about to find out. And obviously, this has been a long saga because, you know, in the past 18 months, Johnny's been trapped in South Korea.
18 months. Can you imagine?
I mean, he worked really hard for it, though, you know?
Fair enough, yeah.
He essentially arrived thinking that he could exploit a polite, high-trust society and entertain a fringe group of people who essentially want him to destroy his life. But instead, he triggered a nationwide manhunt. He got banned from every platform that pays him, went completely broke, and then managed to catch 8 separate criminal charges. And currently, the prosecution is demanding 3 years of prison work labor and 5 years on the S offender registry here in South Korea. So today we're taking...
Yes, prison work labor. That doesn't sound fun.
Making big rocks into small rocks. And by the way, and I want it to be for no reason. I don't want it to be for anyone's benefit. I don't want to have any sense of satisfaction at the end of the day. Just making big rocks into little rocks.
Then they just bring in a machine that crushes them into dust.
Like Sisyphus, push a rock up a hill, and at the end of the day, we push it back down the hill, and the next day you wake up and push it up the hill again for 6
Sisyphus
months.
People. How many shows are going to reference Sisyphus?
Okay. Sorry about that.
I know what Sisyphus is. I don't know if they do. Unwashed
I bet they do.
masses and all.
We have a pretty smart audience.
Yeah, we do.
We're going to look at how the internet's most hated IRL streamer dug his own grave live on camera. But to understand how he got here, we kind of have to look at the playbook. Because essentially, his business model relied on traveling to strict, high-trust nations, places like Japan and eventually South Korea. And there, he just acted like a complete parasite. His job is essentially being a burden to society. He tested the limits of Japan. He spent 3 months in jail there, ended up leaving the country, went to Israel, definitely tested the waters there, fled that country, and then eventually went to South Korea. And obviously, when he landed in South Korea, he got a bit reckless.
And the chaos really started when he found soju. He just became a drunken mess off of this. I am not here for the soju, though. See, what I got was the water. This is my shaker cup because I'm going to make some gamer subs.
No, we're not
Ice right here.
No, I couldn't care
Especially,
less
he was
about
labeled the Golden Goblin or Golden Goose because
You should really
if you
take a
punched
moment,
him,
Joe, and appreciate the Sisyphus comments. The comments. Start with Captain Mauser. Okay, next.
Susser piss.
Next.
Sisyphus for the 10.
Thanks for the tenor.
Depends on how many
The
philosophy shows one watches.
That's
you guys
so
are
good.
the best.
Fantastic.
You got loot. And the crazy part of all this is
There's him showing off one of his wounds when he got punched in the face.
That's
so many
really, he got off really light.
people who actually found him ended up reaching out to me. And I even interviewed Jung Do, who was one of the guys who punched him in the face. But the first
Jung
people who
Do.
found him,
Should
they didn't want to be
never
on
buy
camera.
a sake for the rest of his life.
But
Or
they
whatever
didn't
they
tell me
drink
the
it
story
for.
of how they found him, which I thought was pretty crazy.
Oh, this is insane. Talk about weaponizing your autism. Listen to how they found him.
Because remember a few years ago, you had the whole situation with Andrew Tate getting arrested, and people were speculating that he got arrested because of a pizza box. Well, Johnny was found because of a pizza box, because they saw the name of the pizza place and they decided to go to every single location of that franchise and ask them, hey, have you seen this man? Did he just buy a pizza from you guys? And they showed a
Good
picture of
old-fashioned
him. When they
police work.
finally got confirmation that he had actually been to one of these locations, they realized, okay, we know what neighborhood he's staying in. So then one of them was watching his live stream while a bunch of the other guys were running around the neighborhoods screaming. And I guess they were just playing this 1 hour game of hotter and colder, where one guy was listening to see if he could hear any of the guys yelling. And when he finally
love
heard
it.
one of them yelling, they were like, okay, we can hear it now. Let's see if it gets louder. So, I mean, there was just an insane.
Is that crazy?
That's love of the game right there. Is what that. That's when you weaponize your hatred. That's what that is. You really, really hate
again,
somebody.
To point out, Stuttering John thinks he has it so bad. Imagine people.
Well, the thing
spending
is,
the
like,
time to do
here's
this.
someone who makes Stuttering John look like someone you'd invite to Thanksgiving dinner. You can't hate Stuttering John as much as you hate this guy. I'm sorry. You just
Well, yeah,
can't.
at least Stuttering John just hurts himself and the
Yeah.
people he pretends he cares about.
Right. This guy's just an absolute scumbag.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey.
Kevin Carbone gifting
Thank
10
you.
memberships. Thanks so much.
Behind
If
my
you got one of those,
paywall.
tell him thank you. And here we go.
Amount of dedication there. But while Johnny was being hunted for sport, I guess, punches were the least of his problems, because while all of this was happening, the Korean government was slowly building a cage around him. So in late 2024, the Korean police finally swooped in, but they didn't just give him a ticket. No, they took his passport, they slapped him with an obstruction of business charge for the 7-Eleven stunt. And at the time, Johnny was coping. He was saying, oh, it's not so serious at all. Look, I still have my passport. And then he was showing an emergency travel passport, which I don't think was the main passport he used to travel into Korea. But even if he used that passport to get into Korea, it's not like he could just leave the country, which is why him and his Discord group were trying to plot and figure out how he could sneak out of South Korea. And that's where you had that one moment where they were like, hey, you should just take the train out of Jeju, which does not make sense considering Jeju is an
Right.
island. And I think
This sounds like, again, Stuttering John level execution on
Yeah.
something like this. Like, yes, I'll take the train off that island.
I'll take the train off of Jeju.
The island.
another one of his plans was taking a raft and live streaming himself, taking a raft out of South Korea, which obviously wouldn't have ended well. Either
We
he
should
would
have
have been
encouraged
picked up
that, actually.
Yeah, I think that could have
Yes.
been, if he live streamed that, that would have been the most entertaining thing he'd ever done.
Yes.
by Coast Guard, or he would be at the mercy of the ocean. But regardless, either he would have to illegally enter North Korea or illegally enter China, which just doesn't sound like a good idea either. But honestly, this was just the start of his problems, because essentially he's proven to the world that he's a parasite, but a parasite needs a host. And his host were the streaming platforms he was live streaming on. So what happens when the money printer turns off? Well, he was banned on basically every single platform that paid him. So now he's trapped in a very expensive country with high bills and no income. And the guy got so desperate in April of 2025 that he essentially stalked the streamer Ice Poseidon in real life and begged him to pull some strings to get his Kick account back.
Let's have a conversation. That's it.
There's nothing to talk. There's nothing to talk about. There's no peace to be made.
Listen, come on.
But I don't go around and harass the general public.
In what? Okay, listen. You might.
Okay, maybe you
Is
don't
that a
do
MAGA hat, by the way?
I think it is actually, yeah.
Great.
And Terry Nee, same to you. Thank you. I don't even know how you
Inshallah.
write in Arabic in here, but thank you.
Shukran, Habibi.
This fucking guy. I love you guys.
Happy then, okay? I'll give you that. But I honestly don't think I'm a bad person. I want to come back to
No, everyone
Kick.com.
knows you're a bad person.
Yeah.
What are you
We
talking
watch
about?
it.
I want to stream on Kick again. I want to move past this.
What is your goal here? You're trying to get them banned on Kick. It's not going to happen.
I mean, look at his eyes right there. That is the exact moment his reality shattered. Like, he isn't sorry for what he did to the Korean people. No, he's sorry that he can't monetize it anymore. I mean, even his last friend in Korea, Hank, he had to start begging
Hank.
Smooth Hank, we call him.
online for donations because of how much of a burden
Hey, look at that egg roll.
Johnny was to him.
Yeah.
But of course, just when you thought that Johnny hit rock bottom, no, of course he grabbed a pickaxe and just kept digging. Because at the same time all of that happened, you have the entire courtroom circus, where essentially he just self-sabotaged his entire life. Because you would think, a guy who's facing a decade in foreign prison would, you know, put on a suit, be quiet enough to realize how serious the situation is, and beg for some mercy. But no, not this guy. According to every legal professional I've talked to here in Korea, he did the wrong move. Because over the last year, Johnny faced 8 separate criminal charges.
He just walks into court flipping off the cameras.
With a MAGA hat on. I don't like this guy. I'm not going to save this guy. Not a chance.
Some people say.
And he decided to plead guilty to 6 of them, but fight the 2 main ones. And those were the 2 big ones, which were 2 counts of distributing an 18+ deepfake of a popular South Korean streamer named Bong Bong.
He
Bro, what?
distributed
Hold on. Named what now?
Bong Bong. You don't know Bong Bong?
I thought he said Bung Bung, B-U-N-G, which is a very unfortunate name. Bong Bong?
Bong Bong. She's huge. I don't know who Bong Bong is, but yeah, he shared a deep fake like porn of
so he
good
made
old Bong
one?
Bong.
Okay. And she's underage or whatever?
I don't know if she's underage, but she's like a famous streamer over there.
Okay.
So I guess making that
It
kind
doesn't
of
really matter if you're a deep fake porn or even a real porn sharing it, as we all know. Excuse me.
Steel toe.
Steel toe is frowned upon legally in many parts of the world.
And morally.
Yes.
And of another streamer by the name of Youngmon. Under Korean law, that carries a 7-year prison sentence. And this guy,
I'll be honest, that seems a tad harsh. 7 years.
Well, for sharing the video?
Yeah.
I don't know.
live stream himself doing it. And again, every legal professional here in Korea said show remorse and actually apologize, and most likely you would get a slap on the wrist and the judge would just deport you. But instead, it's safe to say he chose a very different legal route.
Fish and causing anxiety. Causing anxiety by carrying a fish. Tell the judge you can suck my. I'll bring a fish to your mother's house. I don't care. The judge, prosecutor, y'all can suck my.
Is there anything you want to say? Don't you want to apologize?
I love North.
Hey, send this clip to the president of Korea. Send this clip. I'm talking to you, the president of Korea. You can suck my.
What's his
respect
strategy
Kim Jong.
exactly? What's he? I mean,
I guess trying to make as much money as possible, but he has to. I mean, although, again, to bring it back to John, it's like you think he's got to know that this isn't helping, but John does lots of things that are unhelpful in his case.
but it's beyond self-destructive behavior. It's just, it's over the top, foolish
insanity.
Yeah.
Who wants to go to prison in South Korea?
Yeah, then you need to be Johnny Salami. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey-o.
Thank you.
More than you, Lee J. Moon, little.
If you're facing over a decade in prison in a foreign country, why would you ever curse out the judge, the judge's family, and the president of the country you're currently stuck in? Then, of course, he showed up hungover to his first trial almost an hour late, and then continued to
That's very
openly lie.
stuttering John of him. Actually, that's
Right?
one way they have that much in common.
Dude, I'm saying.
Court. So
Somebody
I guess
said,
his
I dare him to try this in North Korea. He stepped 1 foot into North Korea and he'd be strapped to a missile and shot into the ocean. That wouldn't last 2
Might
seconds.
actually be funny.
Yeah.
genius legal strategy was to do all of that and claim he had bipolar disorder like it was some sort of like Monopoly get out of jail free card. And just a few days, he even had his mom write the judge a letter. And what's so crazy about all
Signed, Epstein's mom.
Well, John had his mother submit an affidavit to the court. In fairness, it was the same as Beer Sales Jerry's affidavit, so we don't know that it was really her feelings on the matter, but it's like she wrote a letter to the court.
this is towards the end of the trial, he thought he was doing a great job. He thought he gained a massive win by settling one of the charges. So essentially, he thought that one of the deepfake charges were thrown out, And to be honest, all of us did. And I covered this in one of my videos in October of 2025 because him and Youngman, they went to court in a separate case.
This guy spits out these Korean names like he's a native speaker, doesn't he?
Yeah, so there's Bong Bong and Mong Bong.
Mong Bong?
Yeah.
Bong Bong?
Bong Bong and Mong Bong, and he was trying to settle with one of them.
Then Smooth Larry, or whatever his name was.
Smooth Hank.
Smooth Hank, that's right.
Settle and decide not to press charges on each other. This was a massive favor by Hank for Johnny because Hank, you know, he's the guy who was letting Johnny live with him for
Can you
over
imagine
a year.
having to keep track of all this nonsense, by the way? I mean, this is almost as bad as the Dabbleverse. Like, ugh.
Oh, it is definitely as bad as the Dabbleverse. Yeah. There's probably, 10 times the audience for stuff about Johnny Somali or Daniel Larson or any of these guys than there is for John.
Wow.
Pretty much. And Hank could actually help Johnny here because the deepfake itself was of Hank and Youngman being intimate with each other. And Johnny showed this clip on his stream laughing at it, and Youngman also showed the same clip on his stream reacting to it in shock. So both of them technically distributed it. And that's
so they got the other guy for distributing.
Hold on. So Youngman and Bung Bung had a mukbang?
No,
or virtual
no.
mukbang?
Bung Bong
happening?
has nothing to do with this. Young Bong or whatever showed the same image on his live stream, so he got in trouble for distributing an AI deepfake of himself. It's wild over there in Korea, dude.
Was there bukkake involved in any of this?
There will be when Johnny Bukkake gets to prison.
what that separate court hearing was about.
Bukkake.
Essentially, they made an agreement. If Youngman stopped pressing charges on Johnny, Hank would also do the same to him. So in their agreement, both of them dropped the charges. And Johnny heavily celebrated this. He went on a whole victory lap.
You go look at the comments in this video. Tozy tried to frame it like I lost in the last court date when I got a charge dismissed. So where's the loss? Tell me, guys.
He even called me out for saying that I thought it was going to happen. And I even said that the charges were dropped because I thought the charges were going to be dropped. But the problem is both the prosecutors have to agree to drop the charges. And clearly they didn't, because Youngman was recently sentenced.
This guy looks like a young Johnny Knoxville trying not to be noticed in public, by the way.
And he was charged for...
I actually like his glasses. I thought you were going to say something. Sorry.
That exact deepfake incident that they agreed on dropping. And now we know the prosecutor in Johnny's case didn't drop that deepfake charge either. So what Johnny thought was a massive win turned out to just be a massive waste of time. And I've flown out to South Korea now 4 times.
That can't be cheap.
Yeah, this is my 4th time here now. And the whole thing...
4 times he went to South Korea in
I can
18
imagine.
months.
That's got to be very, very expensive, by the way.
Oh, that's how much money he makes talking about Johnny Somali. See, we got to get into the Johnny Somali business, Mike.
We got to break
Fuck
in.
stuttering
somehow.
John. Actually, I think we go after the pirate more. I just want to make his fans feel. I don't really even care.
I mean,
about
that's
him
kind
so
of an
much.
untapped market when you think about it. No one's really gone after Hex and Stick and Stammers, Sticky Stam 666, whatever his name is. Hit us up, chat. Let us know. Should we go after Hex and Stick and Stammer Pirate Boy more?
Start a war with him just to get his fanboys all twisted.
Flame him and his lame fans. I don't know. I feel like that's maybe an untapped market, and Joe and I can get filthy rich and fly. Where's he from? Like Indiana or something lame?
No, I think it was New Hampshire, maybe.
New Hampshire. I don't want to go to New Hampshire. New Hampshire's terrible.
We're gonna have to go 4 times in 18 months.
All right, we got our first answer. Kevin Carbide says yes.
Again, I don't have any problem with him, but I just thought it was like his fanboys in our comments being like,
right.
"Oh, you're just talking about him for clicks," and it's like it's a YouTuber that got arrested. That's kind of our wheelhouse,
right?
Back to Johnny Salami.
Yes. Thing is such a massive train wreck. Johnny seems to, for some reason, care more about the angles other live streamers get of him than the reality of his own actions.
Seems to be no hype behind this trial. I mean, absolutely nobody's here. Johnny wants me to be a cellmate. I know, right? I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Just roll your window down when you're coming by if you want me to get a good shot.
And the dude is so arrogant that
it is the real Cardiff Electric. Hey, Cardiff. Thanks for having my doppelganger. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that you're here, buddy. Actual celebrity Cardiff Electric in our chat.
Wow.
he thinks that Trump is going to save him, despite apparently the U.S. Embassy told him that they want nothing to do with him.
If Trump saves Tate, Trump gonna save me. Bro, come on.
And some other asshole that Trump saved.
I'm sure that's exactly what Trump wants, is to save this Somali kid from Korea.
He loves I love the Somalis. Honestly, they're my favorite.
Some people say
Donald gonna come save it, bro. Come on, he gonna put some tariffs on these Trump. I'm telling you, Donald J. Trump, please. I'm an American citizen. I am being held hostage.
And all of this brings us to right here, right now, April of 2026. The prosecution is officially recommending 3.
Oh, I just noticed Cardiff also has a membership badge. Thanks for being a member.
Wow,
Cardiff.
3 years of hard prison labor and 5 years on the S-offender registry here in South Korea. And that is for the deepfake charges. If he does get the max sentences stacked on top of each other, he's currently facing 12 and a half years in prison. And it's safe to say,
really good point.
Who sounds like Beetlejuice?
This
Johnny
guy.
Somali.
If you listen to the voice and close your eyes.
This is where we need Shuli to do the impression.
the dude hasn't given the judge a single reason to go easy on him. The judge makes their final ruling now on April 15th, which we're approaching very fast because it's April 14th as of recording this commentary.
Quite a big day in the legal world on YouTube. Johnny Somali gets sentenced, and Bennett Susser pops up out of nowhere with a ridiculous letter about his eyeball exploding. Susser! More on that tonight on Uncle Rico, everybody. All 81 of you in here, please hit like and subscribe, and check out the Active Self-Protection podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and see you over at the Shuli Network at 8 o'clock for the Uncle Rico Show. All right, here we go.
Very bit right here.
All right, good morning. So we're now headed to the final trial day for Johnny Somali. It is sentencing day, and a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen because
he's facing 12 years, remember.
You have a pretty wide range of things. Most of the legal professionals that we've talked to here, they're thinking that he's going to get in the ballpark of what the prosecution was asking for. Up by 25% or down by 25%. But we did hear from someone who, I guess, has been convicted several times here in South Korea, and he's thinking that most likely he'll get a slap on the wrist or some type of probation and would be allowed to leave Korea. So who knows?
And in the morning of the trial, Johnny decided to upload this poll where he was trying to get his community to vote on if they think he was actually going to prison or not. And obviously the comment...
I mean, talk about leaning into it. He's really leaning into it.
Yeah.
Like the guy's about to get hauled off in handcuffs to a Korean prison, and he's putting up a poll on YouTube.
Wow.
Got to appreciate the hustle.
Of that were just people roasting him.
Here we are outside of the courthouse. It'll be interesting. All right, walking into the trial. They have the news posted up, so they're gonna get some angles.
American live streamer Johnny Somali, who had caused an uproar in South Korea with his outrageous acts, such as kissing the Statue of Peace.
Why are you such an asshole?
Was sentenced to 6 months in prison.
All right, so we just got out of court, and he received a guilty verdict. It was guilty.
Yeah. So that is, I don't know that guy's name, but his channel's, I also don't know his channel. Sorry, damn it. But he's a law tuber, trust me.
Okay.
Somebody in the chat knows who he is.
Yes, we got
I was going to say Sean from Potentially Criminal, but that's not him.
him, boys. We got him.
So that was interesting. This time, when he walked in, it was kind of like he saw a ghost.
Legal
Like,
mindset.
he didn't give anyone eye contact, sat down, he's looked extremely stressed, and that was it, really. And then it went way faster than what I was expected, because he was the first one called up. He was called up on the stand, and the judge asked him, is there any reason for why you should not go to prison? And he said because he had family at home, and he misses them, and that was his reasoning, and that he was a
Womp womp.
student.
Everyone
at
has family at home, dickhead.
Yeah, literally everyone in prison has family at home.
ASU, apparently.
6 months, though, does not seem like a whole lot of time considering all the shit. He pled guilty to like 5 charges, and then there was
I
the
saw
2 more
someone
for
in the
bomb
chat
bomb.
earlier. I'm sorry to cut you off. Someone in the chat earlier said that that they go to like a work detail is like they go to work at like a manufacturer. Like, so I'm imagining him making like the Samsung Galaxy Ultra S27. You know,
Yeah,
he's like soldering little pieces together, like the Exynos chip is. He's the one putting it in there. That's so funny.
Some Korean guys just screaming at him all day.
He's like lugging batteries around to put in a Hyundai Elantra.
But at the end of the day, the judge gave him his prison sentence with labor. So he ended up getting 6 months of prison with labor.
Plus 20 days.
Plus 20 days. And
that guy's so excited. He's like, plus 20 days. No,
he's very excited. Legal mindset.
And did he say any fines or anything like that?
The 20 days is probably instead of the fines. So 20 days detention is different from prison with labor.
That guy is?
Yeah, anybody? I don't. I've seen him in other Otozi videos about this, and he seems to know a lot about like Korean law in particular. So I don't know if he's some kind of expat over there.
It's a young Ari Shafir.
Yeah. The amazing racist.
That's for the Minor Offenses Act instead of a fine.
Is there anything else I missed?
I think you nailed it. But the 6 months bottom line.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's reduced so much is because they did not perceive the damage from the deepfakes to be as serious as
what was expected. Yeah,
they balanced it out.
Yeah.
And then he was given like a ban for like going to places with women and children for 5 years or something like that.
Correct. That's about offender status. So that's connected with the deepfake, right? So he's got to go register as a sex offender because it's a sexual crime. So
none of these three have had a date in the last 5 years, by the way.
Away from places involving.
They've been to Korea 4 times in the last 18 months.
Still no dates that didn't involve monetary exchange. They promise you one has been like, actually, if you look up the Korean Unified Code, Section 493. I mean, I'm glad they're happy.
Well, I mean, it's just it's satisfying, like somebody said in the chat a minute ago, to see somebody like this get their comeuppance.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the most of the stuff that he got arrested for wouldn't be a crime in the United States. It'd be all covered in the First Amendment. Oiling up the statue, you'd have a hard time getting a judge to sign a warrant for anything involved with that, like littering, maybe. Like
oiling up the statue, they were like tearing down statues a few years ago, and nobody did shit about
like
it.
The deep fake thing, you could probably get something for that, but like most of the stuff he did, like pouring out the ramen, disorderly conduct, littering, he wouldn't be doing 6 months for any of the stuff he did in this country, but whatever. I think we should play the last thing and get off quickly. People are going to want to go watch Lucy, so we should.
I actually was thinking. The next thing's 8 minutes. So I was thinking with us stopping it and stuff, it'll be even longer than that. Maybe we hang on to that for next week and we let everyone get over to Ms. Tightbox. And then, of course, the Uncle Rico show at 8 p.m.
Very good. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Oh, hold on. Actually, before we do that, we do have a couple of
super
tips. Our friend Online Tom R says, this guy stuck over there is a win for the U.S.
Yes.
I agree. The longer, the better. Isn't Sisyphus from Greek mythology? Been a while. Yes. And last one from Online Tom R. I love these idiots that travel abroad expecting laws to be similar to the U.S. They're not. Most countries would put a hole in your head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good times.
I can't wait to see him get out of jail in 6 months in Korea and go directly somewhere else and get caught and arrested again. That would just beat all.
We should all encourage him to go to Saudi Arabia and try all that stuff next.
Or North Korea.
No, Saudi Arabia. He can get to Saudi Arabia like it's reasonable, and then they would immediately throw him in prison for 20 years. So,
well, thank you everybody for being here yesterday and today. We really do appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who gifted memberships and super chatted and super tipped and hung out with us here. Hit the like button. We appreciate all of it. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week. All right, Mike?
Yep. See you, gang.
See ya.